Winter can be beautiful and annoying, even life-threatening. But whatever its description, it has to be dealt with. And dealing with winter is the mission of Penn DOT, the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, and its 12,000 employees supporting 78 field offices, allied with over 2,600 municipalities statewide, working together to provide a response to winter. Even as Pennsylvania citizens and millions of visitors enjoy our summer activities, and as Penn DOT goes about its business of caring for the 40,000 miles of state-maintained roadway and the 25,000 bridges that make up our transportation system, even then, there is preparation for winter, for the time when Penn DOT's mission will be to keep all state roads passable.
This program will discuss what levels of winter service we, as a department, expect to provide. Not only the what, but also the why and the when. After seeing this video, whether you are an employee of Penn DOT or a private citizen, you will have a better understanding of our winter operations. Notice I said our, for it is only with the support and understanding of Penn DOT and the private citizen can we hope to attain our goal, to keep all state roads passable.
The policies and procedures discussed in this program follow those found in Chapter 4 of Penn DOT's Maintenance Manual under the subtitle Snow and Ice Control. In everything in life, someone is going to be first and someone is going to be last. The same is true when it comes to plowing the roads. Dealing with the nation's fourth largest transportation system requires Penn DOT to set priorities for its roads. These priorities are based on what Penn DOT terms as maintenance functional codes that are used to determine our first, second, or third priority roads. First priority roads include all interstate and limited access highways. Although we call it the interstate system, its formal name is the Interstate Defense System, and it is an integral part of our nation's security. Second priority highways are usually major local, high traffic volume, and important commercial routes. They could be called the economic arteries of the community. The final category, third priority roads, are secondary and rural roads with light to moderate traffic and often have speed limits less than 55 miles per hour. These priorities can change under certain conditions. Some of our counties do not have interstate or limited access highways. In effect, no first priority roads. An example would be Route 6, which runs continuously through 6 northern tier counties. This highway has been selected to receive first priority service since it is the main roadway in the area. The logic in opening roadways in this priority order can be likened to water flow in a drainage system. The water in the main river has to be free-flowing first. Otherwise, all the tributaries will still back up and flood, even if they themselves are unobstructed. What level of service will Penn DOT provide for each type of roadway? First priority roads receive a very high level of service. Interstates get top preference when the department allocates its equipment. Service runs on an interstate during a snowstorm are planned to be about 2 hours apart. The volume of traffic and the emergency planning that centers around these highways make it desirable that all traffic lanes be open and passable at all times. It is required that at least one lane in each direction be opened as soon as possible for passage of emergency vehicles. When an interstate is closed, even for a short period as occurred during the blizzard of '93, the region can suffer considerable financial loss, as well as being unable to respond to emergency situations. Other limited access highways are also first priority. Their service level is only slightly behind the interstate system. Since these roads carry significant amounts of local traffic, they tend to have peak and non-peak hours. 6 to 8 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m., the commuting time periods, are the periods the department will provide the highest level of service possible. During non-peak hours, some snow will accumulate during actual snow incidents. Providing service to these first priority highways includes interchanges and entrance and exit ramps. Motorists must be able to enter and leave the roadway. One stuck vehicle on an entrance or exit ramp can cause a traffic tie-up that can affect service on the highway itself. Second priority roads often carry traffic volumes that drop noticeably in the late evening or early morning hours. Again, the commuting time, 6 to 8 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m., is when the department will provide the highest level of service. Many times, the department will begin plow and salting operations at 4 a.m. in order to prepare the roads for the morning rush hour. This level may drop during the day and when traffic flow is very low, late evening or early morning hours. At those times, you could encounter a few inches of snow on the roadway. Third priority roads carry moderate to minimal amounts of traffic, and speed limits are often lower. These roads are plowed on a scheduled basis, but the application of chemicals like salt or anti-skid abrasives are normally limited to critical locations, such as bridge decks, hills, curves, or intersections. A major concern with these roads is that almost all of them are school bus routes. Every effort is made to provide adequate service before the school buses take to the road. During severe extended general storms, third priority roads will occasionally close. This is a situation that calls for special equipment, so the road may be closed for a few hours. The department uses dual shifts and mobilizes all of its equipment to stay ahead of the storm and keep from closing a road. But sometimes the intensity of a storm makes it physically impossible and unsafe for equipment operators to continue. But any time a road is closed for over 24 hours, it is considered an emergency situation. Once the storm ends, or there is a break in the snowfall, the department begins what is called widening and cleanup operations. And these too are done by road priority. For the interstate and limited access highways, the first priority roads, widening and cleanup begins when all travel, passing, and turning lanes are plowed and treated for ice and snow. Other roads are cleaned and widened in keeping with their physical properties. For example, some roads allow us to push snow to the side, while on other roads the snow must be removed for safety conditions. This is especially true of bridges, where the snow must be hauled away or dumped in safe areas.
Briefly, that's what the department does during and after a snowstorm. But it's what goes on before that makes it work. Let's take a look at how Penn DOT prepares for the winter and how you can help us and help yourselves. But before we do that, let's take a moment to look at one of Penn DOT's major snow fighting tools.
One that is effective, misunderstood, and without proper control, subject to abuse. The material is sodium chloride, salt. First, effective. When the temperature is 25 degrees Fahrenheit or above, there is good traffic flow and sunlight. Minimum applications of salt will turn snow to slush within 15 or 20 minutes. When one or more of these ideal conditions decrease, the amount of salt may have to be increased and reaction time may take longer. Next, misunderstood. Why isn't Penn DOT salting the roads? Because those three ideal conditions tend to occur in different variables and combinations, the Penn DOT manager must decide when to use salt and how much to use. Salt becomes less effective at temperatures of 20 degrees Fahrenheit or less. However, bright sunlight heating an asphalt roadway, coupled with heavy traffic, may overcome the low ambient temperature. One rule the department always follows: if salt takes over 45 minutes to react, salt applications are not effective. Finally, subject to abuse. Too much salt can be used if its use is not controlled. The result? Damage to bridges and highways, vehicles, and roadside vegetation. A chance of leaching from storage areas into surface and groundwater supplies. To counter these environmental concerns, the department has constructed storage facilities to prevent leaching while the salt is in storage, calibrates all chemical distribution equipment, and publishes and enforces optimal application rates. and trains its managers and operators on proper application rates for specific weather conditions. A lot of the pictures you see in this program were taken during and immediately after the blizzard of '93. That was a storm that put the department to the test. A storm that, for a while, paralyzed the Northeast, but a storm Penn DOT recovered from quickly because of the planning done before winter and the time immediately prior to the storm. While we know the winter snows will arrive every year, the date and severity are anyone's guess. So Penn DOT plans for the winter, first by looking at past winters, not just the most recent. What worked well? What gave us problems? And could we have foreseen those problems and taken some preventive measures? Are recent population shifts having an impact on our procedures? Questions, answers, evaluations, those and more are the subjects covered in the department's Spring Snow Review. The equipment that worked those long winter shifts needs to be inspected and serviced. Plows are removed, repaired, painted, and stored. The augers and spreaders used to put the salt and abrasives on the roadway are removed, serviced, and stored. In fact, every piece of winter-related equipment is handled as if the snow was coming next week. Minimal equipment failures occurred during the blizzard of '93 because the department has substantially modernized its equipment fleet, budgeting about $25 million for new equipment over each of the last 3 years. Equipment rental agreements are executed to augment the department's fleet in cases where prolonged storms are encountered. Our salt storage buildings are cleaned, repaired, or in some cases, constructed. Equipment operators undergo formalized training in snow removal techniques. Detailed snow maps outlining the plowing routes are prepared, reviewed, and distributed. The department and local municipalities sometimes share snow removal activities on state roads within the municipality. These agreements are reviewed, updated, and approved. Call-out procedures, who and when to call for winter operations. These lists are checked and coordinated with the winter radio operators and with the workforce. School districts are contacted to review communication procedures and school bus safety rules. The department's procedures for winter maintenance are reviewed with the state police and even some trucking companies based near major roadways. All of this, as was mentioned, occurs at the same time Penn DOT is conducting its normal non-winter activities. Penn DOT budgets for winter maintenance about $100 million a year, without storms like the blizzard of '93. Winter maintenance is an area where increased efficiency can pay big dividends, and Penn DOT is actively looking at equipment, materials, and techniques to increase winter maintenance efficiency, to reduce costs, and improve highway safety. Working with the National Strategic Highway Program, Pennsylvania and other states are evaluating advanced snowplow designs that could deliver as much as a 20% increase in plowing efficiency. Determining methods to better use, as well as alternatives to, de-icing agents. And better weather predictions and communications, where the weather data is delivered faster and specifically applies to the highway user. Penn DOT has already begun using a new weather monitoring system.
It's not really a black ice.
Currently in operation in the northwestern part of the state, it is planned for expansion to cover the entire length of Interstate 80 from Ohio to New Jersey. Sensors placed in the roadway, along with weather instruments adjacent to the roadway, continually feed data to a central location, where it is analyzed and the weather information is shared with the winter maintenance personnel. Timely, constantly updated, and accurate weather information could save hundreds of thousands of dollars by pinpointing potential trouble spots and by giving managers real-time data to make decisions on appropriate action.
That's a brief look at how Penn DOT prepares for and delivers winter services, and some of the items we are evaluating or putting into service. In the beginning of this program, I said we would leave you with a better understanding of our winter operations. I hope that that has been done. And I also mentioned the need for your support and understanding. So, let's quickly run through some do's and don'ts about winter safety and winter driving.
First, a do. Winter weather, like so many things, has its own language. For your own protection, know what the weather people mean when they say, winter storm watch, winter storm warning, ice storm, high wind warning, or blizzard warning. If you must go outside, dress for the weather. Dress in multiple layers of warm clothing. Put blankets in the car. It's a good idea to have chains, sandbags, and a shovel. Parking your car on a snow emergency route can get you a ticket, get your car towed, or at the least, leave you like that. And correcting that is a major cause of death during and after winter storms. Shoveling snow or freeing stuck vehicles can be extremely hard work. Don't overdo it. In inclement weather, use your lights. It's not only a good idea, it's the law. Anytime inclement weather, rain, snow, fog, obscures your vision to where you can't see or think you can't be seen for a distance of 1,000 feet, turn on your headlights. Easier to remember, if you turn on your wipers, turn on your lights. This is what you might encounter when other people don't obey that law. The reverse of that, when the light is very good, is also a problem. Snow and sun equal glare. And glare can, when encountered unexpectedly, reduce your effective vision by up to 90%. And that sunlight can cause areas of the road to become bare and leave other parts with slush, snowpack, ice, or fog. Drive with caution and common sense. Driving around in the winter, you will invariably encounter a snowplow. Don't get too close, or your car may get hit with salt or cinders. But the big reason not to get too close is the operator can't see you. You're in a blind spot. If the truck should stop suddenly on this wet road, will you? Passing a plow can also be dangerous. The plow is wider than the truck. And adding the extension, what we call a wing plow, can mean that you can't get by safely. And that passing is even more difficult at night. When plowing, the plow operator's attention is on the snow, the road, the traffic. Plus, it's noisy inside. You may not be heard or be seen. The last item may seem innocent. After all, if kids can't have fun in the snow, why have snow? But it can be dangerous. The blizzard of '93 will last a long time in our memories. Our equipment operators, municipal employees, the National Guard, local and state police all did a tremendous job combating the storm of the decade. So they ask you, next winter, remember the traffic light. Help us, help you. And speaking of winter, in parts of the Commonwealth, the leaves are beginning to turn. Autumn is in its glory, but you can almost hear the sounds of winter. Are you ready?